Senator, great to see you. It turns out the vice president was in your area. He's trying to win over the Hispanic community as early voting, or the last day to register started, ended yesterday. Here's a little of Joe Biden trying to win over Cuban Americans and Venezuelan Americans. See how it went.
I'll use sanctions as one of the tools for a comprehensive strategy that includes humanitarian assistance, international pressure, and support for democratic actors in Venezuela to force the regime to embark on the road to a free and fair election. We also need a new Cuba policy. The administration's approach is not working. Cuba is no closer to freedom and democracy than it was 4 years ago. The fact there's more political prisoners, the secret police are as brutal as ever, and Russia is once again a major presence in Cuba.
So I guess it's President Trump's fault that there's a lack of freedom in Cuba. That's interesting. What about that policy that we can barely make out?
Well, both of the statements are a joke. I mean, a total joke. On the issue of Venezuela, he's basically describing the Trump policy, except Trump's actually done it. So more sanctions, that's what we've done, crippling sanctions, support for democratic actors. The President of the United States was the first world leader to recognize the interim President Juan Guaido, and then all these other countries followed. International community and support, I don't know, it's up to 50-something countries that now recognize Guaido as a legitimate government. So I don't understand exactly what it is he would do any differently other than, I think back down and actually reverse course. And on Cuba, he's acting like when the Obama policies were in place, they were closer to democracy. All the things he just criticized were in place when the Obama policies that he supports, and I imagine that's what he means by different policy, going back to the Obama policies. Here's the only difference, or the biggest difference. When Obama was president, the Cuban regime was making a lot of money off of tourism because of the because of the economic opening that Obama put in place and Biden supported. So I think what he's basically saying is we're going to allow him to start making money if he wins the presidency. And on Venezuela, I think he's going to totally cave and collapse. And that's why both in Caracas and in Havana, the dictators are hoping that Joe Biden wins and Donald Trump loses. It is their only way forward. And that's what they're hoping is going to happen in this election. I guarantee it.
Senator, you're at home. I know the Senate is not going to be called back into official session for a couple of weeks when they take up Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation. I know the hearings are going to start on Monday. Chuck Schumer said this. He said the Republican leadership has truly lost touch with reality if it's contemplating marching COVID-stricken members to the Senate to rush through a Supreme Court nominee who could strip health care from 20 million Americans instead of engaging in continuously more absurd and dangerous behavior. Chairman Graham should halt this already illegitimate nomination process. 3 Republican senators have tested positively for COVID. Ron Johnson was on the radio yesterday, and he said that he would go to the Capitol in a moon suit to vote if it required that. There's no getting this train off the tracks at this point. It's heading straight towards some sort of a vote, right?
Yeah. So if I follow his argument, then what he's basically saying is we need to close down the fire department because there's firefighters that have COVID. Let's close down the police departments. Let's close down the grocery stores. Let's close down the medical centers. I mean, every workplace in America is facing a COVID challenge. We have a job to do, an essential job for the country, because we can't pass laws and we can't confirm Supreme Court nominees if the Senate doesn't meet. So these hearings are going to happen next week, maybe virtually. Members can do it virtually so they can protect themselves. There'll be a vote, and then it'll come to the floor, and there'll be a vote. We have a job to do. We need to do it as safely as possible, take every precaution possible, but we have a job to do. They were having the same complaints back in May when we came back into session then. So if it was up to them, Congress just wouldn't meet, I suppose. But we could, every workplace in America could make that argument then.